What is going on? And everybody, welcome to your Tuesday touchdown. This is nothing personal, just Bills. I am your host, JTM, and I got my two guys in the building with me as normal in the locker room. Former NFL running back James Mallory, as I like to call the NFL pedigree. James, what's going on?
What up, what up, what up? Let's get it.
And you know that man at the bottom there, Muki Hawkins, Bills beat reporter, Mr. Wuffo, as I'm a W, Mr. Wuffo. Muki, what is going on?
What's good, man? You know, it's about that time, man. Is we on the clock. You know, combine is around the corner. I can't wait to get my butt down there.
On the clock is right. So tonight we had a pretty good show lined up for everybody. Obviously Brandon Beane had a very good interview. If you did not hear it this week on Eric Woods, What's Next podcast. Very good interview. A lot of insight from him. You know, one thing I do appreciate about Brandon Beane is that he's really honest in his interviews. He gonna tell you what it is. You know what I mean? You're looking for a poker face with him, but no, he's pretty honest. He's pretty insightful. So we're gonna talk about that. We got a couple players we gotta talk about tonight. Now, obviously, there was a picture heard around the world yesterday. Josh Allen on vacation, and Christian Kirk popped up in across his table, and now Bills fans are going, "Wow, is he recruiting Christian Kirk?" Now, this is something that me and James talked about a couple weeks ago about the Pro Bowl when Mook was on here too. We was talking about, hey, was he wrong for not going to the Pro Bowl for recruitment purposes? And James, you said recruiting doesn't happen at the Pro Bowl; it happens everything else. So we're gonna talk about that, and we got to talk about our two guards, Daryl Williams and Cody Ford, and if either one of them will be in a Buffalo Bill uniform next year, because there's some cap savings for both of them. A little bit more cap savings, obviously, with Daryl Williams. So let's hop into it. Josh Allen on vacation, as normal. If anybody knows anything about Josh, after the season, him and Britt go on vacation for like a month and a half, couple different destinations. Then he gets to California, gets straight to work. As you can see, he's out there, man. He chilling. He living life like a $258 million man. Right. Well,
as he should,
most definitely, as he should. But then there was a picture that popped up. This one right here. That is Christian Kirk, current free agent and wide receiver. Well, was wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, and he's sitting across the table from Josh Allen with his girlfriend. And you know, any football chatter you think going on there, Mook, I'm gonna come to you first. Christian Kirk, any recruitment going on there? Possibly?
It's always recruitment going on. You know what I mean? You couldn't have these conversations 5 years ago about coming to Buffalo. Now, Buffalo is a high commodity. You know, they are a Super Bowl contending team. They do have one of the elite quarterbacks. You know, so everything points to everything is very attractive now in Buffalo. When you look at the fan base, when you look at how the team is structured, you know what I mean? Of course, Buffalo is very, very attractive to an opposing free agent, especially, you know what I mean, who's in position on getting the bag. But I don't know. Pump your brakes a little bit about that Christian Kirk. Just because Josh Allen was out whining and dining and schmooing with him, it still has to go through the front office, okay? So, you know, if it's feasible for them to do, I don't think they're going to jump out the tree with his market value being what it is to bring him in. You know what I mean? So just let's calm down. In the words of Aaron Rodgers, relax.
I don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. I don't have a very good opinion about Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood. That ain't the neighborhood I like to be in. Happy birthday to my man Cody Wells out there, man. Happy birthday, bro. James. Now, something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. right? You said, when I said, I called you and I said, hey, shit, Allen had went to the Pro Bowl to meet guys. And you said, nah, that's not where recruiting happens. Recruiting happens in workouts and training and everything else outside of the Pro Bowl. What's this dinner? Is he in his ear? Is he telling us some things about Buffalo, about the Bills Mafia, the fans, what the team is going?
Yeah, I mean, if this is a football talk and how he will fit in the offense, yes, because if anybody know what the offense is going to look like right now, is Josh Allen. You know him and Ken Dorsey have had those discussions. I believe those discussions happened even during the season. We all knew this was coming. Called it over a year ago. Ken Dorsey was going to be the OC. These are talks that happen. But I mean, obviously, Christian Kirk will be a great addition to this offense. Speed and just his ability overall. If you put him in there with what we got now, I think that'd be real dynamic. But it's another Arizona Cardinals receiver you may want to look at, and it's Andy Isabella that may end up being here. He's very, very fast, 4.3 guy. Christian Kirk, I'm not sure of his value, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty high right now. He's probably looking to get paid. I don't know if that payday comes here. We still got to pay Stephon Diggs. Let's not forget that. And then Gabe Davis is going to be coming up soon. So will they invest that much money into him? I don't think so. But, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they did sign him. Was it a recruiting pitch? Absolutely. The likelihood of it happening, like Muki said, just relax a little bit.
Relax a little. Well, I'm just giving a little insight on Christian Kirk if people don't know who he is. Obviously, he's been to Arizona Cardinals since he came into the league. Last season, he had 77 receptions for 982 yards, 5 touchdowns in Sport Track, which is pretty good with values. I like my evaluations too, but they're pretty good. They're experts. We go credit for that. They're valuing about $11 million per year. So that sounds about right to me. He's right between that. He's not going to be a number one receiver. Like, he's not your number one. If he's your number one, then you're probably looking like Mac Jones out there. He's more of a number two, can have some number one type impact in certain games. But as far as I think, there's definitely some recruitment going there. And like Mook said, you have to go through the front office. Obviously, we know the Bills are sitting currently at negative $4 million in cap space, which I don't think is concerning to anybody on this panel because we know how the cap space works in the NFL. You can manipulate.
How are we negative $4 million? I thought we came in over, or
no,
not over, but under the cap. Excuse me.
Well, we're negative $4 million because obviously now they put Josh Allen's cap hit is factored in the big money.
Okay.
The Mr. Big Stuff, Mr. Big Money, Mr. Big Stuff. We gonna call him. He's now Mr. Big Stuff with the money. His contract is now factored in. So we are at negative $4 million. But we've seen the teams like the Saints and other teams like that, Chiefs, manipulate the caps for the last 5 to 6 years. Now, obviously, we don't want to get like the Saints right now and be like negative $100 million, but it's the negative 4. It's not that big of a deal. We'll find money.
One move can change that.
Well, I guess I take it one step further. Is Christian Kirk a player that each one of you fellows like to have in this office as possible for the right price? Mook?
No. Might as well just bring McKenzie back. Why risk familiarity and continuity for somebody that's just a free agent? Like, I'd rather bring McKenzie back. He's going to be cheaper to keep him. You know what I mean? And we already went down that road before when we didn't do that with Jordan Phillips, when we didn't do it with Shaq Lawson, and the defense has pretty much suffered since those two guys not being re-signed. Now, the Bills re-signed everybody else except for those two guys, and we still have issues up front since Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips have left the Buffalo Bills. So it's cheaper to keep him. You might as well. He barely even played, but when he did play out there, look what he's done for you. Look what he was able to produce. Here's a guy that's familiar with the system. He's a scheme fit, obviously. Now you got a new OC in Dorsey that can elevate his position, and he could thrive in it instead of bringing somebody in, at a price, that we can get 2 McKenzies for. You know what I mean? So that just don't make sense. Okay, to me, I get it. The schmooing and wooing of the recruitment process, it only just boosts Christian Kirk sales for the next team. You know what I mean? I don't see it happening in Buffalo because we're not going to pay $10 million. Do you know Christian Kirk at $10 million a year is only a few million more than what Stephon Diggs is getting? All right, and that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Let's, like you said, my man Fonzo, let's be realistic with what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? We're not about to bring Christian Kirk in, at no $10 million. He's not a Pro Bowler. He's not one of the premier receivers in the NFL. You know what I mean? So, go get your bag somewhere else. It's just not going to be in Buffalo.
Hey, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. James, Christian Kirk is a guy that you could see could be a fit here, potentially a fit here, and at a right price.
Absolutely a fit, but for the money, I'm not on for that.
Okay,
that's a lot of money for him, in my opinion. That's one of those contracts that somebody signed into a 4-year deal. That second year, they we overpaid. In the third year, they're probably going to release him. If it was some type of cap-friendly deal the Bills to get him for like a 2-year deal, I'll be all for it because his ability, I think he could bring a lot to this offense. I think he could be very dynamic, and I think that just take our offense to another level. I like McKenzie, but I'm not as high on him as other people. He's too inconsistent for me. They used him inconsistently as well, to be fair. It wasn't consistent with his role and how they used him. But there was times where he had chances to seize the moment, and he didn't. And it starts in the return game for me because you had the opportunity to lock that down and be active every single game. He botched some things, and he didn't hold it down. He had every opportunity to, in my opinion. So I'm in favor of moving on from him. But I wouldn't be mad if we brought McKenzie back because I'm not saying he's a bad player. But when you give a player certain opportunities and they don't seize the moment, it's professional football. You got to make it happen. You got to make it do what it do.
Right. Like I said, I wouldn't mind Christian Kirk at the right price. Like I said, $11 million, that's a little expensive for my blood. I'm still circling Braxton Berrios at around $6 million per year, $7 million max. That's where I'm circling, and that's the one guy that I am circling is Braxton Berrios, because I do think we are going to replace Cole Beasley. As far as Isaiah McKenzie goes, while we're on the topic, like I said, I've been saying for the past couple of weeks on any show I've been on, I don't think he'll be back. I don't think he even wants to come back, personally. And honestly, I can't say I blame him. And that's touching on your point, James, about him being inconsistently used. And I think Muki said it before too. They didn't use him right. They didn't get the most out of him. And when he played, it seemed like he always made an impact. So I don't think McKenzie is going to be back. I think he's going to sign somewhere else. And I think unlike last year's free agency for Isaiah, this year's free agency, he has 2 years straight of impactful play. And I think that's enough for some team to pay him a little bit of money to go there. So, just you got something, Moot?
I was about to say more than candy.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, just a thought. And then, like I said, I was actually going through today. I actually turned on the Eric Wood's What's Next podcast, and they briefly had a whole episode with Brandon Beane this week, and it was really such a good podcast. Now, if you guys don't know, Eric Wood is the Bills' former center. He runs a podcast about what's next and what's next to people's lives, but this one was mostly really about the Bills and Brandon Beane, and he touched on some things, and I want to get you guys' opinion on it. So one of the topics that Eric Wood asked him about was watching the Super Bowl and his analysis of it, and as he watched the Rams win, did that make him feel like he should go all in with this Buffalo Bills team? And Brandon pretty much answered the question with, he doesn't believe in that. He doesn't believe in that type of system because he said it's good for now, but 3-4 years down the line, you're stuck. You're stuck in a bad way, possibly. So, and I think he did mention the Saints. I think he mentioned the Saints when I was thinking, and they're in the cap hell that they're in right now. So, what do you guys feel about that? Jay, let me come to you first. Is there a fine median that you can find besides going all in, but then actually still building for your future without mortgaging your future?
Yeah, I think it's a median, and I think it's a very fine line. Because if you a team that eventually if you go all in, as you say, like the Rams did, what's going to happen 3 years from now? They're going to say, they're going to have to build through the draft. They're going to try to stockpile draft picks and do what we do, build through the draft. So they're just prolonging the process in regards to building through the draft. But I agree with Beane. I would be against going just all in, throwing everything in, and then being in cap gel down the line. I like the way they're doing it, because then that way, if you build it the right way, you know what you're doing. You got a consistent playoff contender. And I love it, especially with a franchise quarterback like Josh Allen. You don't want to go through 2 or 3 years where the team is just awful, and then you wasted 2 or 3 years of his prime. I'm against that, but I do. I think the Bills are gonna make a splash, and I think it's gonna be at the end.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know where the splash is going to come. Like I said, I do feel that there will be an impactful move at either the secondary, the offensive line, defensive line, or receiving core. There's going to be a move somewhere. Then the other parts he'll continue building through the draft, as he's been doing, and he's been doing a great job at it, obviously. Mook, do you think that going all in is the right move, wrong move, or where's that fine median that Brandon Beane can find this at? Because I thought we ran it back this season. This is one of the reasons I did not pick the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl following the 2020 offseason, because I felt like they didn't do enough. I felt like they just said, hey, we were that close. We're just going to run it back with the same roster we have. And I think that at some point it reared its ugly head when we saw an over-the-hill Mario Addison and over-the-hill Jerry Hughes out there trying to chase Patrick Mahomes, and they couldn't catch him. That pretty much led to our detriment for running it back, even with drafting young cats. So, Mook, all in, not all in. What you feeling on that?
Being all in, okay. Bills didn't need too much, but you can't run it back with the same players, because the same players have not beat Kansas City in 2 years in a row. So, now we looking how old they're getting. You can't run it back, and you're going to keep getting the same results. You're going to keep losing to Kansas City. All right. So am I all for, making a big splash? Yes. You know what I mean? Because they don't need to go heavily all in how the Rams did, giving up, all these first round picks for, OBJ, a Von Miller, a Jalen Ramsey. We have those type of players already on the roster. Bills only need 1 or 2 players really to get them over a hump. And that could be a dynamic rookie, in the draft, and one, dynamic free agent that could get you over the hump. But the Bills need to guess right on that dynamic free agent. You know what I mean? I asked Beane last year, same question: dynamic rookie, a dynamic free agent. He went on to say dynamic free agent. So, and it really got to be crazy to the point where this guy's going to cost you. Like, the simplest things are bringing a guy like Shaq Lawson in that'll help bolster and refine that defensive line. I don't think that the Bills are going to make a splash too much off the edge, because you already invested impact first round draft picks in Espinosa. You got Boogie. Well, Espinosa was a second round, but he had first round value.
Right.
And you got Rousseau. So those are your 2 cornerstones, your 2 future bookends. So you can't bring in a splashed edge rusher that's going to derail the development. And then, so what we're going to do? We're going to wait for him to have 1 year in his contract period. Then you got to pay him. Then he's going to end up going somewhere else. So, you gotta let those guys play. The training wheels come off. Worst case scenario, you bring Jerry Hughes back for a 1 year, $2.5 million deal where he's the rotational guy, not the starter. And you bring Shaq Lawson back. So, then you'll see what Boogie Basham and Russo and Espinosa is going to fare. Like I said, the Bills don't need that much. They just got to bring a dynamic guy in. And that guy could be Jameson Williams, out of Alabama. He could be that dynamic wide receiver to stretch, the defense. You know what I mean? To take the double team away from Stephon Diggs. They're not too far away, from, doing that. Now, if you want to go be dynamic, go get Leonard Fournette. And,
Right.
And go get Leonard Fournette. I want to bring Shaq Lawson back.
I want to stop you real quick, because you actually got a question. I want you to answer this question while you're on that. Ray Cruz asked, would you consider, and that's funny that you said, would you consider Leonard Fournette a splash?
K-Mac? Oh,
or Khalil. He's talking about Khalil. I
Khalil is a splash, but it's a splash because of the price tag. Khalil Mack is a splash because of the price tag, and the Bills don't have $15-16 million to make that deal happen. It would be nice, You know, if he just got on, you know, his BS and be like, yo, get me out of here. I don't want to be in Chicago no more. If he forces the issue where he's released, then yeah, we already know where Khalil Mack is going if he's released. But he gotta be a prima donna to do that. That's just not in his DNA. You know, but yeah, Fournette would be a splash.
Okay.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Jeremy, I said this a couple of years ago. I wrote a whole article about bringing Fournette in. What Fournette do? Leave Jacksonville or go win the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? We need a physical back that's going to take the pressure off of Josh Allen, a physical back that's going to help out in pass protection and still pose a threat on third down. So, I mean, but, you know, he has a Super Bowl under his belt now. So, yeah, and that's not going to cost you that much to go and get a guy like Leonard Fournette. You know what I mean? So, you know, you go get Leonard Fournette. You make a splash deal, like you said, Jeremy. Go make that trade for Greedy Williams. You know what I mean? Go make that trade for Greedy Williams. Give up a 2023 second-round pick for Greedy Williams. You extend Greedy for a couple more years. You know what I mean? That way, he won't ball out contract year. You got to pay him crazy numbers. And you go get two dynamic rookies that's going to be an impact for you and problem solve with the Bills. They don't need that much. So I kind of agree with Brandon Beane what he mean, but don't need to be making too much of a crazy overhaul on investing that way because they not that far away. You know what I mean? They're just not that far away. They just gotta be more solid in certain areas that they got exposed at this year.
Right, James. Now, you running back, man. Would you consider Leonard Fournette a splash? Now, and I want to touch on this too about the splash move. You know, when we say splash, the first thing that comes to people's mind is money, and that's kind of how you just said that, Mook, about the money. That's the first thing that comes to our mind. I don't think Leonard Fournette counts that much either. But James, splash, Leonard Fournette, would he be one?
To me, no.
Okay.
And that's not saying he's not a dynamic football player. People don't realize how good Devin Singletary played last year, man. That dude was balling, man. When they start giving him the ball, he's one of the top running backs in the league. Look it up. It's just not – he doesn't have the flashy running style that fans like. But he's a productive, really good football player. And honestly, I think they would be better pairing him with Ronald Jones from the Bucs. I'm a big fan of bringing Ronald Jones in to spell him. He's a physical dude. Bring him in to give him a few carries a game. I wouldn't be mad if we got Leonard Fournette, but I wouldn't consider it a splash because I don't think that's a huge need because of the way Devin Singletary played. That dude can play, man. That dude can play some football. And he's one of them dudes that if we don't sign him back, Bills fans will be looking stupid and complaining, like when we lost Robert Woods and they was trying to run him out of town. And he went to the Rams and balled out. It is saying it'd be the same situation. Bills fans are talking junk about him. He ball out when he go get the money from the Rams. They said, "Oh, we should have kept Robert Woods," but no, y'all trying to run him out of town. So I think it'll be one of those same situations. But I don't think it will be a splash. And when I'm thinking a splash would be, I get what you're saying, Mookie. You gotta let the young guys play, but I think they more look at Boogie Basham as a rotational dude, long run. Not long run, short term. And I think if you trade, I think AJ Epineza is gonna get traded.
Really?
I think he's gonna get traded because if you were to get a splash defensive end and you start him with Rousseau and Boogie Basham with that motor he got, if you play him and you rotate him in, that dude is going to be dynamic. I think he's going to be, and then passing downs, you can move him into a 3-tech. You can put Ed Oliver at the 1 to really get after the passer. I think that'd be crazy, especially Rousseau. I think he's going to be a stud. I think we got a steal with him.
Yeah.
He's a baller. But I think that would be a nice splash move. I'm all in with y'all. Greedy Williams. I would love to see him here. Him with Trey White, that'd be crazy. But I'm thinking it'd be on the D-line, a splash move, because I don't know if they make a splash move at corner. I don't know if they make a splash move at receiver without paying Diggs first, because I think that'd be a slap in the face to him to not give him a pay raise, and then you go make a splash move there. So I'm thinking it'll probably be at DN.
Well, there's an interesting name that's popped up at DN, and That name is Daniil Hunter. And that's actually a guy that I said last year to watch out for this year, possibly. If he was injured in Minnesota this year, if they made a coaching change, and both of those things have happened. And not only did they make a coaching change and he got re-injured again this season, but they also are switching to a 3-4 scheme. And I don't know how he fits with that scheme as far as a stand-up rusher. It's a big difference for some guys. Some guys can't make that transition, and I don't know if Daniil can do it. So if there is a splash move at defense end, that's one I would possibly look at, and I think it's a fit, and I think that's a great pairing with Greg Rousseau. And like you said, James, even if Epinesa is not traded in that deal, he could be traded in another deal because, I mean, Epinesa has potential, but I don't think he's ever going to be a great pass rusher. I think his ceiling is going to be a Chris Kelsey. He's going to get you about 40 tackles a year. He may get you 6.5 sacks at best, but I think that's what his ceiling is going to be. It's not the football, but we're talking about Super Bowl football here. This is what we're talking about, championship caliber football.
Well, let's be real. You talking in the last 2 years, we drafted 3 DNs. Somebody's not going to be able to get paid, and somebody's going to be gone.
Yeah.
It's just not really somebody. Rousseau's going to be here. He's going to get paid. We're going to pay him. He's going to be a baller. Yeah. I like Boogie Basham. But I just think one of them going to have to go. You might as well trade one of them, selling them, one of them walk. You're going to have to trade one of them. Somebody, all 3 of them ain't going to get paid. Somebody's going to be gone after that 4th year. Somebody's going to be gone.
Well, I actually have so I know Muki said my splash move was greedy. That's just, honestly, the greedy move, that's just a depth move for me. So, I mean, when I look at greedy, I'm looking at maybe trading another player or maybe trading like maybe a 4th round pick. No, nothing more than a 3rd round pick. And I don't even think he's worth a 3rd round pick at this point because he's not even playing. He's not even playing in Cleveland. I think his talent is there, but they're not playing, which I think they've kind of messed up his value there. I'll give you a splash move that I've been thinking about, and I even said it last year's trade deadline. The Houston Texans are obviously going to be going into somewhat of a little bit of a rebuild mode. Brandon Cooks, I don't think he wants to be there. I looked at his contract. This year, the cap hit is $15 million, right? Next year is the final year of Brandon Cooks' contract in Houston, and the cap hit drops to $5 million. Meaning, if you were to trade for Brandon Cooks and now you're getting elite speed, and you pair him with Stephon Diggs, it still allows you to pay Steph. It allows you to extend Cooks out a year, to which, obviously, James, like you just said, you don't want to bring somebody in and pay him over Steph and then disrespect him. It would just lower the cap hit for this season. I'm looking at Cody Ford, and that's the next guy we're going to get into. What do the Bills do with Cody Ford? Houston's offensive line, I mean, I don't even know half those dudes that's even over there. I couldn't name you. And honestly, for me to tell you that Cody Ford is probably better than what they have, that's kind of mind-boggling, but I think he probably is.
Honestly, he's a borderline starting caliber guard in the league.
Right. No, I agree. Houston, I don't know none of those guys on that line.
It's just we're disappointed because he's a 2nd-round pick and we expected more.
Right. He's not. That's
we could have got DK Metcalf. How about that? We could have drafted DK Metcalf. We won't be worrying about a receiver stretching the defense right now with the weapons.
Well, that's part of the problem with Cody Ford, and we brought this up multiple times. The biggest problem with Cody Ford is obviously, he hasn't lived up to his billing, but the other side is every 1,000-yard season that DK Metcalf has, every touchdown that DK Metcalf has, we're going to be reminded that we didn't pick DK Metcalf, and the media is going to be able to do it, and everybody in Bills Mafia is going to be able to do it. Well, I would just look at the move and I say, hey, if it's me, I'm trying to trade Cody Ford to the Texans. They need offensive line upgrades. Cody Ford needs a fresh start. It's plain and simple. He needs a fresh start. And James, you'll talk this from a player standpoint. Sometimes that's all it takes for a player to get going. Look at Wyatt Teller. Not saying Cody Ford's going to be Wyatt Teller, but look at what happened. A fresh start, boom, you get your head right, you get your career back on pace. But Brandon Cooks would be a good addition here. What do the Bills do with Cody Ford? Mook, we'll come to you first.
Me, this is what I'll do. I'm cleaning house. That's what I'm doing. I'm not just going to pinpoint Cody Ford. I'm cleaning house. If you want me to go make these big splashes, and me being who we are right now as an organization and where we are in the NFL of being very attractive, let's make some money. Let's get some money here because y'all guys has been stealing. Now, we don't mind paying you for production, and everything is performance based. But if you're not performing up to that money, I gotta let you go. So this is what I'm going to first start off doing by cleaning house. Starla Tulele, we can't afford to cut you because it'll be too much dead cap. So we have to restructure your deal. Okay, so we're going to restructure Starla Tulele. Okay, Mitch Morris, you're making $11 million this year. Not so fast, my guy. We got to let you go. We'll get back to you in just a minute. Daryl Williams, you're making damn near $10 million. We're going to have to let you go. We'll get back to you. Tyler Matakevich, you're set to make $3.25 million. We got to let you go. We'll get back to you. Who else is on my chopping block? Cody Ford, we letting you live right now, but I can cut you, but we're going to let you live right now. John Feliciano, you're set to make $5 million this year. Got to let you go. We'll get back to you. Who else on the chopping block? Matthew Hack. We're not even punting in games. We're not about to give you $1.25 million this year. We got to let you go. All right. With those moves right now, the Bills have just saved $33 million. Cole Beasley, you're gone. You're just out of here, buddy. Got to let
Trade
you
it.
go.
39
Mario
million now.
Addison, $2 million. Got to let you go. You know what I mean? We're not even going to get back to you. You're just done. Bills saved $33 million by doing that. Now, you still can bring those guys back at lower, lesser deals, and you still have more money to play with to go after free agents that you want to go after. You know what I mean? I just can't sit here and just let these guys out of these contracts and y'all hurt. Y'all not playing up to what your contracts state. And the longer I allow it, the more money you make each year. It's going to go up. So it's just cutting ties with it. And I hate to say it because, I mean, I don't think Daryl Williams had a bad season. But it's just a big-ass eyesore when you see a guy like that making $10 million is not making a Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? Dion finally made it, but, I mean, damn, like, that's just too much of a big cap hit. John Feliciano, I mean, what have you done for me lately? You get hurt a lot.
I got to go.
You know what I mean? Bitch Morris, I mean, we keep you Feliciano to move you to center, maybe. You know what I mean? But, yeah, they paid out up front, and it's a problem. You know what I mean? So, like I said, they're going to shake some things up, and I just can't wait to see who gets shook up first because the game is one up front, and the Bills went all in on paying every offensive lineman. Everybody's pretty much paid from tackle to tackle, and they just didn't pan out this year. You know what I mean? So now you got to get rid of these big deals, you know what I mean, to create cap space to bring in the guys that you think that's necessary to get you over the hump. You know what I mean? So maybe they keep these draft picks and go all in the line. I mean, they didn't go bad with Tommy Doyle and obviously Spencer Brown. So maybe they go interior this draft. We all know they're going to go interior this draft.
Yeah.
And build from within that way. The Bills are a draft and develop type of team. They're not a big splash all in for the Super Bowl type of team. That's just not their style. Like I said before, they're not far away, but they got to bring their exact pieces in that's going to be a more of an impact than what they've had in the past couple of years.
No, I totally agree. A lot of those cuts I agree with. I think most of these cuts are kind of like no-brainers. Cuts or restructures. Now, as far as Mitch Morris goes, I wouldn't get rid of Mitch Morris. I think I said a couple weeks ago, I extend 1 year and bring the cap hit down instead of losing my center.
Do that, or I gotta get rid of you. You're carrying $12 million.
Yeah, I can't leave it at 12. So I agree with you there. James, before I get into my dissertation about the offensive line, because I got a little bit of information I want to give out on that. Cody Ford, what are you doing with him? Are you trying to trade him? Are you just holding him on to camp and maybe he's your backup now? What are you doing?
I would trade him. I wouldn't just cut him because he's a cheap backup. He's not a starter, unfortunately. I was holding out hope for him, but it's just not what it is. Ryan Bates, the way he played, worst case scenario, I mean, he's your backup. So I would trade Cody Ford. He got to go. Daryl Williams, I actually think, and I know we're talking about Cody Ford, but I think Daryl Williams is going to take a pay cut. I think he's not stupid, especially with his injury history. He knows. He's smart enough to know, Muki, JT. All right, my cap number got to come down. I'm going to take this $6 million and I'm going to keep making this money and I'm going to fall back and I'm going to play on a contending team. Or I'm going to get cut and got to go somewhere and make $2.5 million. I might be on a bad team because nobody else is really going to pay him that much money, to be honest with you. It's just not going to happen. I just think he got to lower it. But Cody Ford, in regards to Cody Ford, I think we just got to trade him. I think his time is up. Change of scenery is needed.
Yeah. Well, that brings us right into our next topic. I mean, it was actually Daryl Williams. So you guys are ahead of the game. You know, that's what like you gentlemen. You guys are ahead of the game.
I just don't think on the Daryl Williams thing, I just don't think he'll be a cap casualty. He could be. Feliciano, I think he is. I mean, dude is always injured. You know what I mean? People fell in love with the nasty, mean streak that he had, and he played hard. But, I mean, out of all the people, I think he should be the first one to go. Just injury, he's injured too much. Unless he takes a pay cut. He got to go. Mitch Morris, I don't think we can afford to lose him, man. That dude was a staple on the offensive line. I don't think we can afford to lose him. But we need to extend him and lower that cap hit down. Though.
Right.
I totally agree.
But I'm agreeing with that. Whatever we got to do to make it right for Mitch Morris, let's do that. But looking at that number, it's like, okay,
yeah,
the Bills saved $7 million by releasing him. That's why I said what I said. You know what I mean?
Definitely. It got to be done. It got to be addressed.
You know what I mean? So, like you said, Jeremy, extending, bring that cap number down, and I'm quite sure Mitch won't have a problem with doing that. If not, by the business rule, we got to let you go. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to let you go. It's just not feasible for the Bills to, be paying you at that price right now. You know what I mean? It's just not. So, that's one thing Brandon Beane is learning, as they go. You got to remember, too, this is their first crack at being a general manager, first crack at being a head coach. So it's some head-scratching things that you like, why did they do that? You know what I mean? Just like 13 seconds. What the hell, It's something that he's had to learn to deal with, being a first-time head coach. Hopefully he know how to handle things better in that situation. You know what I mean? So, it's a learning process for him each and every year with this thing and bringing in the right type of players. And they're going to have to do something because you just signed Daryl Williams. You just signed, John Feliciano. Mitch Morris, his number is going up each and every year. And then Josh number is going to just make everything crazy. So they got to move money around. You know what I mean? So this is going to be a very busy year for Brandon Beane on doing that. And, let's not forget, Bobby Johnson is gone. Here's a new offensive line coach. So at the end of the day, none of those lines is my guy. None of you guys are my guy. Okay? Only person that no ain't going nowhere is Deion Dawkins. Okay, other than that, everybody else is Spencer Brown. Other than that, anybody can go or, restructure. Mitch Morris, 50-50 right now, but everybody else is fair game to be released as far as I'm concerned. So they need to be going up to the office before that even happened. Like, hey, man, let's just make this right. I like Buffalo here. I don't want to go nowhere, X, Y, and Z. Let's restructure, bring that cap number down. I want to do whatever it takes to get the right players in here so we can get to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Just go in there saying all the right stuff.
Well, as far as Daryl Williams go, like obviously I agree with both you gentlemen. $9 to $10 million at right tackle was fine. We know that he's not going back to right tackle unless something catastrophic happens, which hopefully, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. At his level of play at guard, which was not bad. That right side of the line was they was performing pretty well by the end of that season when him and Spencer got the cohesiveness going. $7 million is my max at that spot. And when I looked at his peers, it put him about at $7 million, put him around. It was like around like ranked 16th, 17th in pay around his peers in guard with just guards. I said, okay, I can live with that number right there. And maybe I'm with James. Even if we can get it down to 6, it would be smart for Daryl Williams to take that pay cut. Like you said, stay here, stay with the system that you're winning in, and obviously stay with this training staff that has nursed your career back to health. And I want to say we can't say enough about the Buffalo Bills training staff, which I think when people start talking about the Bills and Josh Allen, the other aspect of that is when we're trying to recruit some of these players to come to Buffalo who have possibly had injury problems in their history, this training staff is a talking point, a huge talking point. So I think Daryl Williams going back to $6 million, 6.5, maybe 7 at max would be fine because I don't want to have to blow up the entire line. But we just saw the Kansas City Chiefs do. We saw the Chiefs get rid of their left tackle, remove their center, and get rid of their right guard all in one offseason because they said, hell, we about to go for it. And I don't want to say they didn't miss a beat. They kind of missed the beat a little bit, but it can be done. So I'm not going to worry about it. As far as the resign of the offensive line goes, like I said, Mitch Morse, I would extend him 1 year, bring that cap hit down to maybe about $7 million for this year, free up a little bit of $5 million. Next year it'll probably be back up to like 10. Daryl Williams pay cut. Deion Dawkins is fine. I love to resign Ryan Bates, but I'm not committing to Ryan Bates right now as my left guard. I think if you do that, you're settling. And that's what we don't want to do. That's why we came into this season and we got our ass kicked by Jacksonville. We went into that bad stretch because we brought back everybody and said, hey, we're going to do it again. Next Saturday, same place, same time. We're going to do it again. And that's why we lost. That's ultimately what ended our season this year, is that right there. So I still think you need to look for an upgrade. But like you said, James, if you trade Cody Ford and you cut John Feliciano, don't forget Ryan Bates can play every single position across the offensive line. That's your utility guy if he ain't starting. So I
he's restricted free agent. It's not like he's not UFA.
Yeah, he's not going nowhere.
No, that's why I say I'm not even worried about it. No one's gonna come out the bank right now and give him like $10 million contract or something like that. It's not gonna happen. So that's why I say I would love to see Daryl Williams take a pay cut, but if he can't take the pay cut, then yeah, you got to move on. It's just that simple. It's a business. We're in the business of trying to win. You got to move on. But yeah, I mean that was a very interesting situation. It's going to be a very interesting situation to see what happens there. But hopefully Daryl will take a pay cut. Hopefully Bills offer a pay cut, and we get a little bit of money back in the bank and keep building this thing. I want to talk about something really quick too. This weekend coming up at Batavia Downs. I'm going to be at Batavia Downs this weekend. Hopefully, if the weather holds up, we are supposed to be getting a storm up here in Connecticut on the day I'm supposed to be leaving. But Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be a big expo event down there. And I'll just mention some of the Bills that are going to be down there signing. You get to meet these players. Saturday will be Lee Evans, Roscoe Parrish, James Lofton, Pete Messelar, Doug Flutie, Fred Jackson. And Sunday will be Bill Polian, Billy Shaw, Steve Tasker, Tyler Bass, Harrison Phillips, Gabriel Davis, Thurman Thomas, and Isaiah McKenzie. So you guys check out Legends and Stars. Get down there. You want to meet these guys, get some things signed. They have a huge memorabilia expo, so it's going to be people with cars and helmets and a lot of cool items. Come out and enjoy yourself. We've done the event 4 times now. It'll be, you catch me down there, do a couple interviews with me, tell what you think about the team. If you love them, you hate them. If you want to kiss them, if you want to kick them, no matter, I'll be down there. Come find me.
I'll be down there with you this time.
Okay, yeah, come on down. Come on down. So other than that, I mean, guys, it was a pretty good show. I don't think I'll be back next Tuesday because I got to work next Tuesday because I'll be if this Buffalo thing go down, I won't be here Tuesday. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting off season here, and it's just getting started. It's just getting started. Mook, any thoughts on this off season so far?
Well, let the games begin. You see, Kansas City let go to Hitchens already. Anthony Hitchens, linebacker. Yeah. So there was rumored to him to be coming. Around. We linebacker help. We need some linebackers. So you never know. Let the games begin, man. Let the games begin. I wish Chicago be like, hey, man, you're a cap casualty. We gotta let you go.
Yeah.
I wish
who Khalil Mack?
Yeah, I wish they would do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hiring a defensive coordinator as a head coach. Yeah, man.
How would y'all feel about Jadeveon Clowney?
If they would have brought him in a couple of years ago and he's the agent, I was saying that too. Go get Clowney because he's stout in the run game. He sets the edge, but now that Shaq Lawson is available, I would rather go that route because he knows your system, he knows your scheme. He's been here before. And it's funny that you mentioned that, JTM, about the training staff. Eric Ciano was at Stevie Johnson's camp yesterday. And, me and him was just small talking. We were just talking about how state-of-the-art that facility is. Barring none, the Bills have the best weight training facility in the NFL. And that's key. And he was saying, like, man, that stuff, it's real key. He's going to be here. His contract isn't up. All right. So let everybody know that, Shiano's contract isn't up. And then he mentioned about Shaq Lawson, that he would love to have Shaq Lawson come back. Shaq Lawson definitely wants to be here. Everything that I said, everything that you said, Jeremy, about Shaq when it was rumored for him to come here. But it's just still up to the Bills to go ahead and pull that trigger. I don't know what they're waiting on, but I'm definitely going to ask them next week while we up in Indy. I'm going to ask them all these questions that we was talking about today. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask them all of that stuff. If I run up on them, you best believe I'm going to be asking these type of questions to Brandon Beane, Coach McDermott, anybody on the coaching staff, or, you know, me and Terrence Gray, we talk quite a bit. So, you know, I get some good insight from my guy as well.
Yeah, great. It's going to be big, man. We here. James, off season is here. We'll be doing more of these shows. What do you think of so far? You know, before we go, give me one free agent you would love to sign. And one player, surprise player you like to see, not like to see gone, but maybe gone. Well, you already gave Epinesa. You gave Epinesa. That was your surprise.
I got a feeling he's going to get traded. I just don't see him here long term. I really don't. Okay. I just don't. Surprise cut. That's a tough one. I'm scared to say it, but I think it could be a Mitch Morris. I hope it's not, but I think that would be my surprise cut. That's somebody that they would maybe let go. I think AJ Klein is definitely gone. Tyler Medikevich. I think he's too valuable on special teams, so I think they keep him. I just don't know why. I got a funny feeling the splash is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're gonna sign a middle of the pack guard. They compete on the left guard, and they're gonna draft a guard pretty high, probably second or third round, and he's going to compete. But I think it's going to be at the defensive end spot that it's going to be a splash trade. And honestly, I see two. They maybe go after a receiver as well. And I think Cole Beasley might be a part of that trade.
Yeah, I think Cole Beasley. I mean, I personally think, and we can talk about this next show if he ain't gone by then. I think Cole Beasley days in Buffalo are a number.
The guys that's going to be gone, they know it already. It's not going to be. They know.
They know. Okay.
They know. Cole Beasley, honestly, and Muki's inside, he knows. They'll let you know, like, listen, we're going to look to maybe move you. And they know if it gets out, they're going to know where it came from.
The players were saying that, like, right after the game, like, you know, we know this roster is not going to be the same. So, obviously, you know, those, like you said, James, those guys been knew that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they said, you know, in those meetings, like, hey, we're not going to let you back this year. You know, next year we're going to release you. You know what I mean? You know, yada, yada, yada. So, you know, all that stuff has been mimicked around. When they do them exit meetings, bro, you know they already told you what's going on.
Listen, it's not like the corporate world where they got to give you, you know, these soft answers. Well, you know, it's not. They're going to tell you, listen, man, the cap number, it probably went like this with Cole Beasley. We love you. You're valuable. More than likely, we're probably going to look to move you. Depending on what our cap number is it possible we bring you back? It's possible. But we may look to move you. We may look to move on. We're not sure yet. We don't know where we stand, but it's very possible we can move you.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no big splashes when you look at these free agents, though. Who? Brandon Sheriff, Allen Robinson, Chandler Jones, Dante Fowler, Devontae.
I think it'll come in a trade, Muki. That's me. I don't think it's going to come free agent sign. I think it's going to be a bunch of middle-of-the-pack guys that will come in the core guys. I think it's going to be a trade if it is a splash. I don't think it's going to be a free agent sign. I don't think they're going that route. It's going to be a trade because you got some pieces to trade. You got AJ Epinesa. You got Cody Ford. You got Cole Beasley. You got three pieces that teams in the NFL will want.
Go get Greedy Williams, man, and then go draft a few corners in this year's draft.
Cleveland, listen, Greedy Williams for Cole Beasley. Let's be honest here. Cole Beasley would be a great safety blanket for Baker Mayfield out there. That's something he could. That helped Josh with his development. Honestly, it did. So maybe that's something that they want to explore in Cleveland.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'd rather trade him to Philly for like a 4th round pick, but you know that's just me. I'd like to get him out the AFC completely. But
it's not like he'll kill you. He's not a player that'll kill you in the AFC. So
yeah.
It's that contract, though. Who's going to take that contract on the wrong side of 30? That's the issue. You know,
1 year left, though.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but that's why I circle a team like Philly, just because, you're looking for, you have a young quarterback in Hurts, and obviously to this point, Rager has been a bust, and Devontae Smith is your guy. You need a safety blanket for this young kid, that, like very similar to Josh, that you need to help develop him. And Cole Beasley is a guy you know very well. That's why I just kind of circle Philly in that regiment. And then obviously with Cole Beasley being the guy he is, I'm pretty sure he can take on the Philadelphia fans no problem. He's real combative there. So
he can still play, but I think he is gone. His time up is up.
Yeah, and
Braxton Berrios.
They're gonna release Beasley because it's more to releasing. They save more by releasing him. I don't think you're gonna find a trade partner for him for that figure on the wrong side of 30. Maybe he'll go to the Giants. You know what I mean? Help out Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
More familiar.
It's possible. I think we all agree that he's probably gone with the money.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. If we talking about these guys, he's the first person gone. He's been gone. He's gone now. You know, so. Yeah. You know,
I guarantee you, he moved his stuff out of his place here. Guarantee you.
You know, you look at what he went through with the vaccinations and stuff like that, rocking the boat a little bit, if you will. You know, McDermott, he tolerated it. He had no choice but to. But, you know, I'm quite sure when it comes down to making those type of cuts and in the way that Gabriel Davis, we can't pay a guy who only scored 1 touchdown this year $6-7 million when Gabe Davis scored 4 in 1 game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's that. You got to look at it like that. Like, you know, we've been holding these guys back. We've been drafting and they're ready to play. You know what I mean? Even McKenzie. You know, McKenzie plays in absence of Beasley, and he basically has, you know, he single-handedly beats New England. You know what I mean? So, like, that's why I say it's cheaper to keep him. I'll take that money and give it to McKenzie. But, you know, I mean, why bring in another guy? I mean, McKenzie, okay, he had some issues on the return game, but he ain't dropped no passes. I can tell you that. He ain't dropped no passes. He just couldn't, you know, locate the ball and concentrate on bringing it in while somebody's flying 4.4 speed after him. You know what I mean? So
somebody trade Edmonds. That's foolish. Stop it. Stop.
Edmonds now.
Stop.
They're not trading Edmonds. You just got to bring another linebacker in. Maybe you restructure Milano's deal. You need another dog-ass linebacker to pair that off with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A guy that can cover. You know what I mean? A guy that can cover and, you know, support the run. They need an every down linebacker, if you will. You know what I mean?
This is the thing with Edmonds. Okay. I mean, I know some people for him, some people against him. I'm all for extending Edmonds at the right price. I'm not going a dime over $13.5 million per year for Edmonds. Anything over that, then I'm letting him walk. This is the thing that's going to happen with Tremaine Edmonds. Okay. They're not going to trade him. They're not going to cut him. They're not going to draft his replacement this year either. He's going to play his 5th-year option out. And if the Bills feel suitable to pay him, they're going to pay him. If not, they're going to let him hit the market next year, and somebody's going to go crazy with him and definitely pay him a ton of money. That's what's going to happen.
Christian Harris from Alabama, or Brandon Smith for Penn State, or Darian Beavers from Cincinnati. You know what I mean? You got it. We need quality depth. They brought Dodson back, but you need a quality depth piece and somebody that can go out there with the size and the physicality and the speed to match that. We don't have no team speed. The Bills lack team speed on offense and defense. McKenzie is the fastest player on the team. He barely played. All right. You know what I mean? Okay, if you still want to see guys like the Cheetah throwing your whole entire defense to peace sign 40 yards down the field before he get in the end zone, then that's what's going to happen. You ain't got no team speed out there. Right. And we're not getting to the quarterback. So something's going to have to give on that defense now. You know, right. Offense just ain't far away, but we don't have no team speed on our offense other than Stephon Diggs. I mean, you know, Gabriel Davis, he's big, he's physical, he can get separation, but he's not going to blow the top off of a defense. But he's going to win a one-on-one battle. I trust Gabriel Davis one-on-one with team's number 2 corner any day. That's been proven already. But we don't have no speed. Somebody that on the opposite side of things that's still going to pose a threat. And that's what's lacking at one Bills drive. So, you know, either you go get Jameson Williams and you know, you put him on that IR list to week 10 and he'll come right back. You know what I mean? Being that threat that you need for that offense, firepower. And, you know, we need some team speed on both sides. The Bills need to get faster and physical. That's the issue.
If he's there at 25, the Bills going to take him without a question. They're going to run up with that card, Muki. You know it.
Yeah. It's going to say the Bills on the board. Do-do-do.
We're going to find out. I know they smoke screening because, you know, in these drafts, these mocks, there's a lot of smoke screening going on because I'm hearing that the guy out of Ohio State a lot. And I'm like, I don't know about that. They just don't fit the mold. You know, something about Ohio State, other than Michael Thomas, but guess what? He's hurt too. You know what I mean? They get hurt a lot, you know, so best availability, you know what I mean? You got to be available. You got to be available. You can't be hurt. And that's the Bills' problem too. You know, you signing these guys and they hurt and they're not performing because they're hurt. You know, so then you don't have enough quality depth to, you know, keep it consistent. And Josh got to do all he can to, you know, be who he is. So, you know, let's take the pressure off of number 17 a little bit. Get him some dynamic pieces. Get him a receiver with some height. All right. Somebody that he can see evenly 40 yards down the field and be accurate with. Not somebody that's 5'9", 5'8", trying to dime him 40 yards down the field. Look at Cincinnati, their receivers. Look how big they are. It's easy for Joe Burrow to hit those guys at any given moment because they're 6'3" or better. You know what I mean? Give Josh Allen a bigger dynamic target. Jamison Williams fit that mode at 6'3", 200, 4'3". Man, I'm going to get that. You got to fight fire with fire if you think you're going to compete against the Kansas Cities in the Chargers and the Cincinnati's of the world at this point.
Right. You know, and there was an interesting stat that I told myself I was going to give earlier, and I totally forgot, but I just remembered. So luckily we can go off the air. And when we're talking about the offensive line, the Bills have pretty much $44 million allocated to the offensive line, which is 20.8% of their cap space. They ranks 9th in the NFL out of all 32 teams. The defensive line is coming off the books a little bit, obviously with the exit of Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison and probably Reese Starlatule. But right now, that is at $24.7 million in cap dollar space, accounting for about 11.75% of cap, and that's ranked 23rd. Secondary, $48 million. Ranking 6th in the NFL is probably our highest ranking position as far as cap space goes, or our most expensive position. But we know what those boys do on that back end. So that's justified.
That's traffic control. They earned that. You got Pro Bowl,
justified.
Player of the Year, all pro guys. They worth every penny right now.
So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, guys, it was a great show. We'll be back. I'm gonna start doing some Saturday morning shows too. I know me and James were doing those last year, so we're gonna get back on some of the Saturday morning shows where we kind of just highlight, spotlight, maybe one topic or something like that. And definitely make sure you're getting over to our YouTube, because I know Clayton and Travis, they're going to be starting to record some content to put out, and we'll be recording some content as well. So it won't always be live, but it will be some recorded content. And the guys on the draft team is going to be getting some of that stuff out. So you start seeing our draft content coming out. Those guys are working hard and diligently. So fellas, good show. I'm going to catch you guys probably next Tuesday, probably the Tuesday after, unless something big happens. Something big happens, you'll probably catch us on live that night when it happens. So other than that, as always, thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys check out Batavia Downs this weekend if you're in the area. Be safe, be careful, and as always, man, go Bills. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, JTM, for my guest, Muki Hawkins, James Mallory. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.